What's up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Every conference championship weekend as well. Super hyped. Starting off tonight, two big ones. Well, one would say both. One big one, but I think they're both big. Anyways, Conference USA Championship, Pac-12 Championship, both tonight.
Yeah,
Um,
two good games.
yeah, I think they're both going to be good. But yeah, we had the game last night. That was probably the best Thursday night game we've had this year, I would say, that I can think of, anyways, off the top of my head. But yeah, the Cowboys unfortunately won, and I forgot to change that up top. My bad. But yeah, it was 41-35. Cowboys is what that score ended up being. And yeah, I mean, the Seahawks, they should have won. They really should have. I thought the fourth down play calling was absolutely horrendous. And I didn't agree with the first two to go for it on fourth down. The first one, I was like, bro, you're up by 5. They were up 35 to 30 at that point. You're up 5 with about 7 minutes to go. Pin them deep. Like, you have one of the best punters in the NFL and Michael Dixon. I'm sure he could have put him inside the 20 at the very worst, if not inside the 10. So I didn't agree with that one. And then the second one, I don't remember the circumstances of the second fourth down. But oh no, that one was like 3.5 to go, and they were down 38-35. But you still had 3 timeouts, or 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. So I was again, they were like right near the 50, and I was like, again, I know you might not get the ball back, but for how good the defense was playing, I thought it was fine. And then, I mean, it worked out to the fact that they even had another chance, and that play call was not great either. So yeah, 0 for 3 on fourth downs, really, I think what made this game what it was.
Yeah, I think that the Seahawks just kind of got out coached a little bit, which is kind of surprising. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was a really good game, at least in terms of offenses and quarterback play. It was really fun watching Geno Smith and Dak kind of duel it out. Been really impressed with what those guys have been able to do this year. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing for me is that I'm still skeptical of both of these teams to be able to succeed in the playoffs. Um, I know people are kind of talking about this as kind of a signature win for Dallas, and it is. I was impressed with their ability to kind of be able to come back. I think it was like 14 unanswered, because the Seahawks got that score before half to take the lead, and then they got the ball again and went up 28-20. So I was impressed with that, for the Cowboys to kind of get punched in the mouth and be able to just kind of come back from that. But this defense is going to play 10 times better against much better offenses,
Yeah.
if they're going to hope to go anywhere. So that's what worries me. In terms of the Seahawks, I just don't know if they have the pieces yet, especially on defense. I think they need some more dudes, at least one or two more dudes on that side of the ball, um, before they become kind of a Super Bowl favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I still think. I mean, there's not many other teams. I still think the Seahawks will make the playoffs. I don't think there's enough teams on the outside that are better than the Seahawks. Um, So who knows? But I'm hoping I need the Cowboys to lose out now. I have their under wins. I think it's 9.5. So that's fun. It's definitely a possibility. This is the first team with a winning record that the Cowboys have beaten all year. And now they don't have a winning record. They're 500 at 6-6. So yeah, but they have to. Their schedule is rough. They host the Eagles next Sunday night. Then they go to Buffalo. They go to Miami. They have to host Detroit on a Saturday on December 30th, and then they go to Washington, which beat them last year in Washington. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it's based off the schedule. It's a definite possibility.
Yeah.
And for Seattle, I mean, their schedule isn't as tough, but the next two are. They go to San Fran and host Philly, which got flexed into Monday night. Then they have to go to Tennessee. Tennessee's a different team at home than they are on the road. They host Pittsburgh, and then they're at Arizona. So it's not a cakewalk for Seattle either. But yeah, into this game here. Geno, 23 of 41, 56.1%, 334, 3 touchdowns, a pick, and a rushing touchdown. Dak Prescott, 29 of 41, 70.7%, 299, 3 touchdowns, 7 carries for 23 yards. Tony Pollard led the game in rushing there for Dallas, 20 carries, 68 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches for 15 yards. DK went off for nothing. It's tough to have a night like that and lose. 6 catches, 134 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 8 targets. And he went off on my fantasy team for nothing. 30, I think it was 35 points against me. It's a fantastic start to the week when you're already out of the playoffs and trying to get in. CeeDee Lamb, he went off for me, though. 12 catches, 116 yards, touchdown, 17 targets. It's ridiculous target share there. You had JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, double-digit target night, 7 catches, 62 yards on 11 targets. I was pissed. I had him starting in a Dynasty League. And, bro, that touchdown, freaking, the ref said it was a touchdown. The guy on the broadcast, I don't remember who Thursday Night Football's officiating a person is, but he literally said, I think it's Terry McCauley. He's like, bro, yeah, he's like, yeah, I think it should stand. And the refs are like, no. I was like, bro. And then I was like, okay, well, they're at the 1. And then Geno threw a touchdown to Noah Fant. And I was like, all right, that's fine. As long as DK didn't catch it, it's cool. Dallas called a timeout. Yeah, okay. Okay.
That's right.
I think Mike McCarthy has to actually do some exercise for once and go to the official instead of just yelling 25 yards away, saying timeout. Because Pete Carroll's 72 years old and he still runs down the field to an official. So yeah. Anyways, and of course, and then the third time they get fucking DK in the end zone. So it's fantastic sequence.
Yeah. That replay was one that I felt could go either way, but since they called it a touchdown, like I felt like it should have stood. But the good news is, I think over the last month or so, and especially in this game, like I think you're seeing what Jackson Smith can be for this offense. Like as more than just an underneath like separator. Like he can win vertically from the slot and he can get you some big play opportunities. So that's definitely going to be something to kind of keep watching for.
Yeah, that and the yak. I was really impressed by his run after catch. Defensively, I'm going to go with Seahawks defensive tackle Jaron Reed, 7 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. Seahawks defense impressed. They sacked Dak 4 times, I think. Dallas didn't sack Geno at all, I believe. So the over 47.5 hit. And the Seahawks plus 9.5 covered. USFL news. The Birmingham Stallions. We're getting the merger coming. It's coming soon. Hopefully early next week we'll have news on the United Football League, which is what I'm hearing they're calling it. They have a March 30th start date, I think it said, for the league, and it's going to be 8 teams. The Birmingham Stallions, though, re-signed wide receiver Deion Kane, the USFL Championship MVP, 3 touchdowns in that game, and excellent season last year. They also signed safety Kenny Robinson, former draft pick of the Panthers, and an XFL standout with the St. Louis Battlehawks. The Biletnikoff finalist, best wide receiver in the country. We have Ohio State wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., LSU wide receiver Malik Neighbors, Washington wide receiver Rome Odunze. Who gets it? I'll probably go with Marvin Harrison. That's kind of the easy choice, but
yeah,
it's tough. I think my choice is between Marvin Harrison and Rome Odunze. I know Malik Neighbors has popped off a lot, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough because it's kind of a stat thing. Who has the aggregate stats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I think because MHJ missed out on it last year, I think
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Transfer portal. So this is carried over from last show, and so is a bunch of this news that we're getting to, because I was hurrying last show to get to a meeting. But transfer portal. So we're gonna run through them real quick. Mississippi State quarterback Will Rogers, Harvard defensive lineman Thor Griffith, Louisiana Tech quarterback Hank Bachmeier. I keep saying and a lot of other people are saying it too. The quarterback market is going to be ridiculous. And of course, transfer portal opens on Monday. Vanderbilt quarterback Ken Seals, Texas A&M quarterback Max Johnson. He has committed already to North Carolina. Big get from Mac Brown there. Indiana quarterback Brendan Sorsby, Iowa State tight end Deshaun Hanukkah, Missouri State wide receiver Raylan Sharp, North Carolina running back Elijah Green, Michigan State quarterback Caton Hauser, Kansas State running back Trayshawn Ward, and quarterback Will Howard, Notre Dame wide receiver Chris Tyree, Miami running back Don Chaney, and quarterback Tyler Van Dyke, Buffalo quarterback Cole Snyder, Mid-Tennessee defensive tackle Zaylen Wood. He has committed to Vanderbilt. Michigan State quarterback Noah Kim. USF quarterback Jerry Bohannon. Fresno State quarterback Logan Fife. Duke defensive tackle Anais Peoples. Arkansas quarterback KJ Jefferson. Florida quarterback Max Brown. Stanford quarterback Ari Patu. Coastal Carolina quarterback Grayson McCall. Duke quarterback Riley Leonard would have to think he is a Texas A&M Aggie, and follow Mike Elko there. South Carolina wide receiver Antwain Wells Jr., Stanford running back EJ Smith, Emmett Smith's son, NC State quarterback MJ Morris, New Hampshire quarterback Max Brosmer leading the FCS in passing. He has an offer from Wake Forest. Oregon State quarterback DJ Uiagalelei, again, another one that you kind of can connect the dots. Michigan State would be where he probably goes with head coach Jonathan Smith now there. UTEP running back Deion Hankins, Florida State wide receiver Winston Wright, UCLA quarterback Dante Moore, Washington State wide receiver Joshua Kelly, Arizona State tight end Jalen Conyers, South Alabama wide receiver Colin Lacey, and Washington State quarterback Cam Ward.
Yeah.
So massive names on that list
Yeah.
at the quarterback position specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's definitely a lot of dudes. And like, I know people have a lot of different opinions on the transfer portal. And I know that a lot of people feel that it's kind of gotten out of hand. I mean, I love it. Like, I love the energy of it. I like kind of that it's almost like a free agency. I do feel bad for the smaller programs that kind of, they develop these 2-3 star guys and then they just leave, for a bigger program, bigger payout. But, like, as far as some of these bigger programs that lose out on a guy, like, I don't know, just play better. Like, I don't know, don't have your head coach leave for another job, and maybe bring some of his guys with him. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack with it, but in terms of just pure talking football, like, it's fun to speculate. It's fun to think about kind of how the landscape changes every offseason, kind of like football, or kind of like the NFL. We're seeing that a lot with college football now too. So it's fun.
Yeah. Like so being a quarterback person, it's interesting to see where all these guys go. A lot of really good ones, and of course, I'm keeping an eye on all the wide receivers, the big name wide receivers that are entering as well, for Penn State's sake, because we need receivers, and the transfer portal is a great way to get that. I already mentioned last show UTEP wide receiver Kelly Akari would be a fantastic slot receiver at Penn State, and Josh Kelly's having a great year at Washington State as well, so I wouldn't mind him either.
Mhm.
For the coaching carousel, it's that time of year for college football as well. We'll go through the firings first. New Mexico head coach Danny Gonzalez, Indiana head coach Tom Allen, Houston head coach Dana Holgerson, UTEP head coach Dana Dimmel, Mid Tennessee head coach Rick Stockstill, and Nevada head coach Ken Wilson, all out at their respective programs. Hiring wise, Michigan State, they have their new head coach. Oregon State head coach Jonathan Smith. Texas A&M hired Duke head coach Mike Elko. Mississippi State, they have hired Oklahoma offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby to be their next head man. Syracuse, they hired Georgia defensive backs coach Fran Brown as their head coach. Great recruiter is what I hear from him, about him. San Diego State, they had what's his face retire? Brady Hoke retired after went out a winner. San Diego State won their last game there. Not bowl eligible though, I believe. They have hired offensive coordinator Sean Lewis, Colorado offensive coordinator Sean Lewis as their head coach. Indiana, working quickly, they hired James Madison head coach Kurt Signetti. That's a big get. Not sure how it's going to work out. Indiana is a tough place to coach, especially now you have even more big time programs in the conference with the Pac-12 schools coming in.
Yeah.
But I heard he's bringing almost his entire staff. Like, he's getting offensive and defensive coordinator. I believe he's special teams coordinator as well, and some of his assistant coaches also.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I like, him feeling to take on that challenge. I think a lot of guys are looking to kind of just get into one of these now mega conferences that are building, and just be able to make some kind of noise in those conferences. And I think, he could be primed to do that at Indiana.
Yeah, one thing that it will help out the current the current Big Ten East teams that are not Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. Those other teams, Rutgers, Indiana, Michigan State. I feel like I'm missing one.
Maryland.
Maryland, yeah, that's the fourth one. Those four teams, I think it's going to benefit them going to a non-divisional format because they're going to actually have a chance, playing more Big Ten West teams and, not having to worry about winning a division versus just place as high as you can.
Yep.
What else here? Arkansas, some coordinator hires. Arkansas hired Texas A&M offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino as offensive coordinator. He was Arkansas's head coach from 2008 to 2011. And Penn State, they have their new OC, James Franklin, hiring Kansas offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki. I'm still not sure how you say his last name, but Kotelnicki there. The Kansas OC headed to Happy Valley. Don't know how I feel about it. Kansas offense never really impressed me, but when I was reading the article, though, their offense actually was really good. I think 26th nationally ranked over the entirety of the time that Kotelnicki was there, and I think or 26th maybe just this year, but that was without Jalen Daniels most of the year. So pretty solid numbers. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, I think you'll end up liking that hire. I've been able to keep tabs on Kansas a little bit in my peripheral because of former UW Whitewater great Lance Leopold now leading the charge there, and they do some super creative things on offense. Just some crazy, almost backyard football type stuff with like motioning dual quarterbacks and like just some real out of the box stuff where I think if he goes to a program like Penn State and the talent that they're able to put together, like he could really do some creative things with that offense. So
yeah, my fear is though that like if this one doesn't work out, James is gone. This is I think third offensive coordinator. So yeah. Actually no, fourth. Yeah, it's his fourth offensive coordinator, I think. Anyways, a couple head coach updates. The SMU, they signed head coach Rhett Lashley to an extension through 2029. As we know, these extensions mean absolutely nothing because we've seen a guy sign an extension 1 year and then go somewhere else the next year or get fired the next year. That's not really what happened to Jimbo, but close enough. And then Arizona, they are working on an extension for head coach Jed Fish, making the highest paid coach in Arizona history, as he should be. Senior Bowl, guys accepting invites. Texas defensive lineman Byron Murphy II, Houston offensive lineman Patrick Paul. The Packers want to take a chance on Patrick Paul there. Clemson defensive tackle Ruka Rohoro, UCLA defensive end Laiatu Latu, Clemson defensive tackle Tyler Davis, South Carolina wide receiver Xavier Leggett, USC wide receiver Brendan Rice, NC State linebacker Peyton Wilson. I love me some Peyton Wilson. And thank you, Senior Bowl, for liking my tweet, my quoted tweet on my thoughts on Peyton Wilson. Texas defensive back Jedi Barron and Texas Tech punter Austin McNamara, and then Missouri linebacker Tyron Harper. And final college thing, the SEC championship is going to remain in Atlanta through at least 2031. I know they were talking possibly about moving it. I don't know if that's in response to Texas and Oklahoma coming in. They don't want to travel that far. I don't know. Maybe they just are tired of Georgia being in the SEC championship game in Georgia.
Could be.
All right. NFL news. So we didn't get through these on Tuesday either, but the Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced its semifinalists. 25 semifinalists will be whittled down to 15. And then when they have the 15 finalists, it'll go to 10 and then to 5, which is the max number that they can put in as modern era nominees. So the semifinalists in alphabetical order, last name: corner Eric Allen, played for the Eagles, 88-94, Saints 95-97, and the Raiders 98-01. Defensive end Jared Allen, Chiefs 04-07, Vikings 08-13, Bears 14-15, and the Panthers in 2015 as well. Offensive tackle Willie Anderson, Bengals 96-07, and the Ravens in 08. Giants running back Tiki Barber, played with New York for his whole career, 97-06. Wide receiver Anquan Bolden, Cardinals 03-09. Ravens 2010-12. 49ers 13-15, and Lions in 2016. Guard Jari Evans, Saints 06-16, and the Packers in 17. Linebacker London Fletcher with the St. Louis Rams, 98-01. The Bills in 02-06, and the Commanders 07-13. I should say the Redskins. Defensive end Dwight Freeney, Colts 02-12. San Diego Chargers 13-14. Cardinals in 15. Falcons in 16. Seahawks in 17. And the Lions in 17 as well. Tight end Antonio Gates played with the Chargers 03-18. Running back Eddie George, Houston Oilers and Tennessee Titans 96-03. And the Cowboys in 04. I had no clue Eddie George ever played for the Cowboys. Did not know that until I saw this. Linebacker James Harrison, Steelers 02-2012. Bengals 13. Steelers 14-17, and went to the Patriots in 2017 as well. Safety Rodney Harrison, San Diego Chargers 94-02. Patriots 03-08. Wide receiver and punt returner, kick returner Devin Hester, most return touchdowns in NFL history. But the Bears 06-13, Falcons 14-15, and the Ravens in 16. Wide receiver Torrey Holt, St. Louis Rams 99-08, and the Jags in 09. Wide receiver Andre Johnson, Texans 03-14, Colts 15, Titans 16. Defensive end linebacker Robert Mathis, played with the Colts his whole career, 03-16. Defensive end Julius Peppers, Panthers 02-09. Bears 10-13, Packers 14-15, and then the Panthers again 2017-18. Wide receiver Steve Smith Sr., Panthers 01-13, Ravens 14-16. Running back Fred Taylor, Jags 98-08, and the Patriots 09-10. Wide receiver Hines Ward with the Steelers his whole career, 98-11. Running back Ricky Waters, 49ers 92-94. Eagles 95-97, and the Seahawks 98-01. Wide receiver Reggie Wayne with the Colts his whole career, 01-14. Defensive tackle Vince Wilfork, Patriots 04-14, Texans 15-16. Linebacker Patrick Willis his whole with the 49ers his whole career, 07-14. And safety Darren Woodson with the Cowboys his whole career, 92-03. So that's a lot. I mean, obviously, I think for you and I, it's tough because, like, I mean, I'll speak for myself anyways. Super biased towards the newer players, the players that, we watched.
Yeah.
Like, I never watched Eric Allen, Willie Anderson. Not really Willie Anderson anyways. Eddie George. Who else? And like Ricky Waters. and Darren Woodson, like those guys, like I don't I don't really have a platform for.
Yeah. Well, I think too, it's just that the first year eligible guys, you get so much focus on that too because it is really another whole distinction being a first ballot like Hall of Famer. Like that's something that's pretty special. Um, that's like really the pinnacle of like a career in the NFL. Um, so yeah, that's what I think too about.
Well, the crazy thing is we only have two players, two that are available as first ballot: Antonio Gates and Julius Peppers are the only two that last played in 2018. So, man, I think Antonio Gates definitely. I mean, in that time frame, it was him and Tony Gonzalez. Like that was those were
Yeah.
the tight ends. Like those were the top guys. And so, I mean, if I'm picking five out of this list, anyways, obviously we'll get the finalist list later. But I'm probably gonna go with Antonio Gates, Devin Hester, Steve Smith Sr. Um, actually, no, I'm gonna take back Steve Smith. uh, Reggie Wayne. I'll put Peppers in, sure. And then, no, Eddie George, I think. And then Dwight Freeney. Those are going to be my five. I know I forgot to send the script, so you don't even have the list. I was going to ask you your five, but
Yeah, I think I agree with you on Gates. I think Peppers could be in there too. Um,
Gates and Hester are like the two that I think most
yeah,
definitely should.
Hester too. I like Hester. I like the idea of uniqueness being a factor in a lot of this. Like he really is the best special teamer of all time, probably. No other guy has ever been like I feel like I've said this before on the pod. Like every time he fielded a kick, like you felt like he could take it, like literally. Um,
Well, especially in today's day and age where you don't barely get returns on kickoffs.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
We have a playoff berth clinching scenario. First one of the year. It is the Philadelphia Eagles. They can clinch a playoff berth with a couple scenarios this weekend. They can beat the 49ers and have the Rams either lose or tie the Browns. They could also win and have the Lions lose to the Saints and the Packers lose or tie the Chiefs. And then the two other ones that I don't I don't ever know why they're actually on the clinching scenarios. I know because they actually are clinching scenarios, but they're usually never going to happen. They could tie the Niners, had the Rams lose, and the Packers lose or tie the Chiefs, and the Falcons lose or tie the Jets. And the other thing is the same thing with the first three: tie, Rams loss, Packers loss or tie, and the Saints lose or tie the Lions. So those are the four scenarios for the Eagles to get a playoff berth clinched this weekend. Also with Philadelphia, Deshaun Jackson has officially retired, and incredible career. At least literally, he was probably my favorite player other than Donovan McNabb growing up as an Eagles fan. Played with the Eagles 08 to 13, the Redskins 14 to 16, the Bucks 17 to 18, the Eagles again in 2019, 2020, the LA Rams and the Raiders in 21, and the Ravens last year. He won Super Bowl 56 as a member of the Rams. As far as I remember, that's the right number, right? Was the Rams 56? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he had 641 receptions, 11,263 yards, 58 career touchdowns. He also had 463 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. And then, of course, the punt returns also, especially early on in his career, 5 career punt return touchdowns. 4 career punt return touchdowns. But yeah, I mean, he was one of the most electric wide receivers of the 2010s. And he's retiring as an Eagle, which is awesome. I think eventually he'll be placed into the Eagles Ring of Honor or Hall of Fame. I don't remember what they call it, but whatever. Definitely think he's one of the best Eagles of all time.
Yeah, he's a fun player to watch.
Well, and that there's two key moments for Deshaun Jackson that I'll remember forever. One is the Monday night game against the Redskins. First play of the game, Michael Vick, play action, bomb to Deshaun Jackson. And then the Eagles routed the Redskins like 59 to 14 or something like that, 59 to 7. And that one, and then, of course, the Miracle in the Meadowlands Part 2, taking the punt back on the last play of the game for the win.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. The butterfly effect from that that play was pretty crazy.
The other side of the state, the Steelers, they have requested to the NFL to host the NFL draft in 2026, 2027. They're interested to see if that happens. Philly had it in 2017. That was a pretty solid draft there that I went to in person. Schedule changes. So for December 16th, so that's week 15, we have the Saturday schedule set. It is going to be the Vikings at the Bengals at 1 o'clock, Steelers at the Colts at 4:30, and the Broncos at the Lions will be the night game, 8:15 Eastern. And then the next week 15, or no. Yeah. So actually that's week 14 is the schedule I just said. But week 15, we have the first ever Monday night flex. It is the Eagles at the Seahawks. They are moving into Monday Night Football. Chiefs at the Patriots going to Sunday. And the Eagles now play 3 straight standalone games with the Cowboys game next Sunday night. Got the Eagles at the Seahawks on Monday night, and then week 16 they also play on Monday Night Football, I believe. Yeah, and then they play Monday Night Football, or not Monday Night Football, but Monday afternoon football on Christmas Day, against the Giants. So 3 straight after this weekend of standalone games for Philly. IR, the Panthers placing a couple guys on IR. Guard Chandler Zavala with a knee injury and wide receiver Laviska Shenault Jr. with an ankle. IR return, the Lions, they opened the practice window for rookie quarterback Hendon Hooker. So he is finally back, going to get some practices in before the end of the season here. And the Jets doing the same with quarterback Aaron Rodgers. We'll see. We'll see if he is back or not. Couple injuries. Texans offensive lineman Titus Howard, knee injury. He is out for the season, placed on IR. He's going to have season-ending knee surgery. Saints wide receiver Chris Olave was still in the concussion protocol, but they said he's probably going to pass after today's work. Ins and outs, the Dolphins rookie running back Devon Achane, he is expected to return this week. Happy, need it for fantasy-wise. Packers running back Aaron Jones with his knee sprain. He is out once again, Matt LaFleur said. Texans rookie wide receiver Tank Dell with a calf injury. Wide receiver Noah Brown with a knee injury. They are both questionable. Tight end Dalton Schultz out with a hamstring. And for Cleveland, Browns rookie quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he is out with a concussion, as is corner Denzel Ward. Joe Flacco will be the starter in LA this weekend for the Cleveland Browns. How about that? Couple releases. The Texans, they waived corner Shaquille Griffin. He has been claimed by the Panthers. And the Cardinals, they waived tight end Zach Ertz. Cleared waivers today. Interesting situation for Ertz. We'll see. He wants to go to contender. I know people have mentioned the Bills and Kansas City, but I know our guy Jimmy, he texted me when he saw Ertz was getting waived. He's like, Philly reunion? And I was like, why not? We need him. Dallas Goedert injured right now. Dallas Goedert, by the way, listed as doubtful for the game this weekend. But yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with it. Ertz can still move. He's, I'm fine with that.
Why not?
A couple signings. The Texans, they signed corner Desmond King II. And the Panthers signed guard Gabe Jackson to their practice squad. XFL to NFL, the Patriots, they signed Vipers wide receiver Matthew Sexton to their practice squad. College pick standings. Yeah, bro, it was rough last week. You crush us.
Rough for some of us.
42-9. You went 3-2 in your Lone Wolves. You got Michigan right over Ohio State. You got San Jose State right over UNLV. And then you got Wisconsin right over Minnesota. And you lost South Carolina against Clemson and Gardner-Webb against Mercer in the FCS playoffs. Jimmy went 1-5 in his Lone Wolves. He lost Air Force against Boise State, Houston against UCF, Wake Forest against Syracuse. He got Richmond right over North Carolina Central, and then he lost Lafayette against Delaware and Duquesne against Youngstown State. Can you believe I went an astounding 0-7 on Lone Wolves? There was some heartbreaks as well. UTSA losing to Tulane. That was tough. I had UTSA winning the AAC this year. New Mexico losing to Utah State in double overtime. Georgia State blowing a lead against Old Dominion. I lost Auburn in the Iron Bowl to Alabama. They should have won that one. Illinois losing a close one against Northwestern by 2. Virginia got crushed by Virginia Tech. I don't know why I picked them. North Carolina losing to North Carolina State, and that was the last one. Yeah, I didn't have any FCS Lone Wolves, but yeah, bro. I mean, there were some rough ones there.
That Iron Bowl one. That's crazy. That was crazy. And I almost picked Auburn too. I almost went crazy with it.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. I turned on. I didn't watch that game. I turned on like the last minute. And I was like, "You're kidding."
That's why they lost, because you turned it on, Logan.
I jinxed you.
Anyways, let's go. Conference championship weekend, rapid fire here, kind of. Conference USA championship tonight, New Mexico State at number 24 Liberty. I made a joke today. I was like, it's kind of funny that the CSA championship is made up of 2 newcomers to the league this year. But like I said, all the good teams left though, that they did have. So, anyways, I think this one should be a good one. Liberty is favored by 10. You, sir, are lone wolfing, fighting Washington's the New Mexico State Aggies.
Yeah, it was good. I'm a little disappointed. I'm the only one putting on for our boy John. Hey, team of destiny, baby. Let's go. Let's upset City this.
Well, it's a team of first. It's a game of firsts. New Mexico State's, I believe, first ever 10-win season in their program history. Liberty has never been undefeated at 12-0. But Liberty has more to play for. There's more pressure on Liberty. They need a win to continue to fight Tulane for that highest ranked group of 5 team to get into the New Year's Six Bowl. So, yeah, they have more to play for than New Mexico State does. But I think it should be a good game. I have loved watching Diego Pavia play this year. So, yeah, I think New Mexico State plus 10, I think, is a decent bid. But I also could see Liberty for how good they've been covering as well. I could see both sides of it. Total's 57.5. I like the over. A lot of points, I think, in this one. 7 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. And the one that everyone wants to see. I'm so happy this is tonight and not tomorrow. The Pac-12 championship. Number 5 Oregon. 9-point favorites against number 3 Washington. You once again.
Making me a little nervous here. You know, I'm playing with a lead, but I'm already out here with 2 lone wolves. You know, honestly, I mean, I'm surprised Oregon's getting -9, considering that they lost. I mean, it was a super close game, but that's why I'm surprised that the spread is what it is. But honestly, I love watching this Washington team. Like, I want to believe that they can do it again. It's just it is a super fun offense to watch. Michael Penix just throwing absolute piss missiles. I mean, the dude only has like 1 speed. It's just those rocket throws, and when he's throwing it to guys like Jalen Polk and Romeo Dunze, it's really fun to watch. So I'm rocking with the Huskies. I want to see them in the top 4.
I'm going with Oregon because I've been on the Bo Nix Heisman train since about mid-season, I would say. And I've been getting crushed on Twitter for saying that Bo Nix is my Heisman over Jaden Daniels. But how about Jaden Daniels goes and plays in a conference championship game first?
Oh, there it is.
For one. And for all those that are like, yeah, but his defense sucks. Because they had a comparison of Joe Burrow against Jaden Daniels. And I was like, for one, no, Bo Nix is my Heisman. For 2, you can't compare them. They're 2 completely different players. And for 3, Jaden Daniels didn't even sniff the SEC championship game this year, let alone the national championship. So, and they're like, oh yeah, but his defense sucks. I'm like, well, Joe Burrow's defense gave up 25 points per game, but it didn't even matter because Joe Burrow and that LSU offense outscored everyone no matter how much their defense gave up. And if Jaden Daniels was really that good, then they would outscore everyone despite their defense giving up that many points. So there you go. Jaden Daniels, Heisman voters. He's not playing this weekend, is he? That's all. Yeah.
I agree that a comparison to Burrow is ridiculous, but I still have Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman, even though he's not playing this weekend. I think at the end of the day, just the dual threat ability and the numbers that he's put up is gonna make the voters go that route.
But if Bo Nix goes and balls and beats Washington this weekend, how can you not give Bo Nix the Heisman?
Or Penix for that matter. I mean, you could make an argument if they put up a statement in either of these games.
For me, for Penix, though, his shine is kind of worn off because of how Washington hasn't played great the last like 3 or 4 games of the season. And especially that Washington State game, he really didn't have a great game. They did win. And that was the same thing that happened in the Arizona State game too. And that's when I think when you look at Nix versus Penix, I think because they played in the same conference, they played common opponents. I think you can do that comparison a lot easier. And I mean, look what Oregon did to Arizona State. They demolished them, and Bo Nix had 6 touchdowns, 400 yards in the first half. He didn't even play the second half. So, but yeah, I'm going with Oregon because of the Bo Nix thing, but also because I think Oregon's defense is better. I think they both have decent defenses, but I think Oregon's defense is better. And I just don't know. Washington, if you go away from Jabbar Muhammad outside, I think you're going to be okay for Oregon offensively. Just don't throw to number 1. I think he's number 1.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, this one total is 65.5. And I think we're going to go over. It's going to be offense. I don't remember what the number was, or I think there was like 70 something points in the first meeting, right? I think it was like 38-35.
Yes. Yep. I think it was 38-37. I think it was a one score game. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, sure. Let's go over. 8 p.m. on ABC. Tomorrow we got the Big 12 championship, number 18 Oklahoma State against number 7 Texas at AT&T Stadium. By the way, Pac-12 championship. That's in Vegas. That is at Allegiant Stadium. This one, AT&T Stadium, hosting the Big 12 championship like it has in the past, and we're all hooking them. Hook 'em horns. Texas was my Big 12 champion from the start. I got the wrong Oklahoma school in, though. I had Oklahoma against Texas, but no matter. I think Texas is playing outstanding right now. They absolutely demolished Texas Tech last week. So, I mean, they have everything to play for. And they have to. They have to crush Oklahoma State because they have to make their case for the CFP in case someone loses, which we know one person is going to lose, either 5 or 3. So,
yeah, it's a huge game for Texas, and one of the big things that to monitor in this game, and I think what the committee will be monitoring is just to see, how does the run game look without Jonathan Brooks out there. Really unfortunate that we don't get to see him down the stretch. But if Texas can put up a statement win without him in the championship game, 12-1 record, especially with that head-to-head win against Bama, which could end up being huge if Bama wins this weekend. Yeah, I mean, very important.
Total here is 55.5. I'm leaning on the over. 12 p.m. on ABC. MAC championship, Maction, Miami, Ohio, the Red Hawks at Toledo, the Rockets getting 7 points at home. And I think this one would have been closer last year. I just haven't seen enough from Miami to feel confident in their game, especially going to Toledo. I think the Rockets have everything going for them right now. DeQuan Finn is playing outstanding. So yeah, we're all on the rocket ship here. The total for this one's 43.5. I also again like the over. 12 p.m. on ESPN. Mountain West Championship. Hey Broncos. This one is also in Las Vegas because that is where UNLV plays. The Boise State Broncos got in on a technicality, kind of. I mean, both teams did because UNLV lost to San Jose State, and then they had to go to the computer rankings to see who got in between SJSU, UNLV, and Boise. But yeah, I'm going with UNLV. I think they've been the team the majority of the year up there when Air Force was undefeated. So I like Jaden Mayava and that Rebels offense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm a fraudulent Mountain West championship game picker in that I just went with who was favored and that I'm more familiar with Boise State in terms of name recognition. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe just some more championship identity, maybe some championship DNA in Boise State. I know that they aren't the Boise State that you know we grew up with that was a little bit more dominant. But I still think that they can still bring it. So I'm lone wolfing them.
Yeah, they still got some dudes. Taylor Green at quarterback, Ashton Genty at running back is a fantastic player, but going with the Rebs at home. Total 60.5. I like the under. 3 p.m. on Fox.
All right, brother, man, I'm going to hop off.
You don't want to talk about this one first?
I'm going to let you have the floor, dude. Use the lone wolfer.
All right.
All right, brother. See ya.
So, go Dogs. I thought this was how these picks were going to work out. I am lone wolfing the Georgia Bulldogs in Atlanta. Number 1 Georgia undefeated against number 8 Alabama. Dogs getting 5, and I'll say at home because it's an hour and a half to Athens from Atlanta. So, yeah, I think the Dogs get Bama this time around. They're not as good as they were in the past. I would have loved for Bama to be favored. They've won 29 straight games. And let's go. Let's put the haters aside once again. Get it done. Shut Jalen Milroe down. It's going to be a lot of work for the linebackers to keep their integrity watching Jalen Milroe. And you gotta contain him, but I think we can do it. I think we have the back end to cover Jermaine Burton and Isaiah Bond and the other guys that they have in the passing game. It's going to be tough defensively. And I think our offense clicking on all cylinders right now with Carson Beck and co. Kendall Milton, Dejon Edwards running ball. and the playmakers are rested after not playing last week for Brock Bowers, Lad McConkey, Rod Thomas, all out. Tate Ratledge as well. I think those guys are going to be ready, having an extra week of rest. And let's go get it. Go Dogs. Total in this one is 55.5. I am leaning on the over. 4 p.m. SEC on CBS. AAC championship game, SMU at number 22 Tulane. and we are all on the green wave. I think that's right. I think that I was close to picking SMU, but again, Tulane I think has just been too good. Their lone loss here was non-conference. It was to Ole Miss in a game that they were up for a majority of the game. So I just think Tulane is a really solid team. Michael Pratt at quarterback, Mekhi Hughes running the hell out of the ball right now, and that defense for Willie Fritz is playing well. Now it's a tough task against SMU, who was also undefeated in AAC play. But I do think Tulane gets the win, as we all do. Total is 47.5. I'm going to go with the under. 4 p.m. on ESP on ABC. Sunbelt Championship game, Appalachian State at Troy. Jimmy. Yeah, I just can't. App State's not the App State that we've seen in the past, despite them going to Harrisonburg and knocking off James Madison, undefeated at the time. Troy has been the class of the Sun Belt outside of JMU, and I really wish we would have gotten a JMU Troy Sun Belt championship game, because that would have been fantastic, and it would have been in Harrisonburg. So, unfortunately for App State, I don't think this is a game that they can win. Joey Aguilar has played well down the stretch, but he's not going to be able to beat Gunnar Watson. And I think the Troy defense also is going to have their way with the App State offense this game. Trojans getting 5.5 at home. Total is 52.5. I am liking the under. 4 p.m. on ESPN. Big Ten championship game. Number 2, Michigan. Undefeated. 22-point favorites against number 16 Iowa. Yeah, of course. I wasn't going to pick Michigan. Like, come on. Who do you think I am? Homer pick here for Iowa, just because I hate Michigan. But yeah, I think Iowa, they can play defensively. They can play with Michigan if they stop Blake Corum in the running game. I don't know if they have enough weapons offensively to win in the passing game, despite Cooper DeJean not playing in this one. It's still Iowa's defense, and I think they're going to get after them. They just have to play well in the run game, and I think they can keep it close. So I love Iowa plus 22. I think they can keep it close like that. This is not a Michigan team that is like last year where they were explosive. They do still have some guys outside with Roman Wilson, but I don't know if they have enough. And Iowa offensively has nothing really. LaShawn Williams at running back is probably their best player. Keep it close and keep the score down. That's all Iowa's got to do. Take a playbook out of Maryland's playbook, because they played Michigan close. Obviously Penn State did as well. And Ohio State, and even no, those were the three. Yeah, Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State all played them close. So you got to look at those game tapes and see what you can do. Phil Parker, and if Phil Parker wins, if Iowa wins this game, I would have to think Phil Parker wins the Broyles Award for best assistant coach in the country. Total is 34.5. I am going with over. 8 p.m. on Fox. And finally, the ACC championship game, number 14 Louisville against number 4 Florida State. No one went with Tate Rodemaker and FSU. I was hoping that someone would because I was originally on FSU, and then I was like, no, I think Louisville's going to be pissed. They're going to come into this one with their hair on fire after the shocking loss to Kentucky that eliminated Louisville from any chance at the CFP. So yeah, I think they're going to be really pissed off. Jack Plummer has to play better, and they gotta be able to stop Florida State on offense. So give me the Cardinals. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think Louisville, Jeff Brom gets an ACC championship game win in his first season as Louisville head coach. The total is 46.5 here, and I like the under. 8 p.m. on ABC. The FCS playoffs continue with the second round this week, and this is where things get interesting. The ranked seeds, the seeded teams, all got buys last week, so now we bring them into the fold after the other 8 teams coming into this weekend have already played a playoff game, and I think that's the interesting thing that happens. You get a team that's already played a playoff game coming in with one more game of experience against a team that's been off for a week and not in competition. So I am going with the Richmond Spiders. As much as I hate Spiders, I think Richmond had a great game last week. Beating NC Central, crushing NC Central, really. I think the Spiders are going to have a good game. It's going to be a tough task going to number 5 seeded Albany, but I just don't think the Great Danes have enough to contain Richmond. So give me the Spiders in this one, 7.5-point dogs against the Dogs. Total for this game is 48.5. I'm going to lean on the over. 12 p.m. ESPN Plus. Youngstown State at number 8 Villanova. And yes, sir, I am going another lone wolf and another team on the road that played last week. They crushed Duquesne at home. I'm continuing with the Penguins. They're going to go across the state of Pennsylvania from just over into Ohio, where Youngstown is. They're going to cross Pennsylvania to go to Philadelphia, play Villanova, number 8 seed. And I think Villanova might get me just like they did when they played Delaware a couple weeks ago. But I'm rolling with Youngstown State. Give me the Penguins on the road in Philadelphia. 5.5-point dogs there. Total for this game is 57.5. I'm leaning on the under. Give me the YSU defense to play well. 12 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Chattanooga at number 7 seed Furman. The Paladins getting 6.5 at home. And yeah, I think they should even be more than that. I think Furman has been the clear number 2 team most of the year. They lost that second game late in the season that dropped them a little bit. But I still think Furman is an excellent team, and they're getting a great matchup against the Mocs of Chattanooga. So who had an upset last week at Austin Peay. Only one of 2 teams to go on the road and win last week. So give me Furman and the Paladins to win this one, move on to the next round. Total here is 41.5. I'm leaning on the under. I like a lower scoring game. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus. Sacramento State at number 3 seeded South Dakota, and Jimmy taking on the road. Dakota Dome, I believe that is what South Dakota's stadium is called. But Logan and I, we're on the Coyotes. 3.5 points is a small spread here, but Sacramento State, the other team that I mentioned, going on the road last week, beating a tough North Dakota team. I don't think they're going to beat a second Dakota team in the consecutive weeks here to move on. South Dakota has been excellent this season, and really a whirlwind coming from not a lot. But yeah, give Logan and I the Coyotes, Jimmy Lone Wolf and the Hornets here on the road. 49.5 is the total here. I am leaning on the under. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. Mercer at number 1, South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits go Jacks. 11-0, the only undefeated team in FCS play. 32.5-point favorites. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game for Mercer and the Bears going up to South Dakota State. But yeah, give us the Jackrabbits. I think they completely demolish Mercer and continue their run toward the second consecutive FCS national championship game. Total here is 48.5 and over. Give us the over. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. North Dakota State at number 6, Montana State. Bobcats at home. 6 seed here for Montana State. 3.5-point favorites as well. It was a close one. And it's hard not to look at North Dakota State's win last week, 66-3 against Drake. But Jimmy and I, we're going with NDSU. It is not the North Dakota State that it has been in the past. However, I'm not so confident in Montana State's ability to score points. So give us the Bison, Logan Lone Wolf, and the Bobcats there at home. 58.5 is the total here. 58.5. I like the under. 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Delaware, the Blue Hens at number 2, Montana. Grizzlies getting 17.5. Yeah, I think Montana has been excellent this season. Number 2 seed in the FCS playoffs here. It's going to be a really tough game for Delaware to go into Bozeman and win this game. So give us the Grizz at home for all 3 of us. 47.5 is the total here. I'm leaning on the under. It's 9 p.m. on ESPN Plus. And the last game here is Southern Illinois at number 4, Idaho. The Vandals getting 6.5 at home. And Jimmy is wolfing the Vandals there after he shit on their stadium earlier in the year. But I like SIU. SIU's been a tough team year in and year out. I think they can go and out physical Idaho on the road here against the number 4 seed. So give Logan and I SIU, and the Salukis get the win for us. 50.5 is the total here. I like the over. 10 p.m. ESPN 2 and ESPN Plus. NFL pick standings. Yeah, it wasn't great last week, but I won the week 7-5. Jimmy 4-8, and not great for him, really not great. And then Logan 6-6, and look how close it has become. Jimmy has lost his lead that he accumulated really early in the season. By no fault of his own. Really, he only had a couple bad weeks. Had that 3-9 week in week 7, which all 3 of us did bad, but I was 5-7, Logan 4-8. And then, this bad week, this last week, I think might have hurt him a little bit with Logan being 6-6 and me 7-5. So, but yeah, I mean, last week, Logan 2-1 in Lone Wolves. He got the Titans right over the Panthers, the Colts right over the Bucks, and he lost the Texans against the Jags. Jimmy lost his only Lone Wolf, the Browns against the Broncos. And I went 3-1. I thought I was going to go 4-0. Unfortunately, the Chargers couldn't get it done on Sunday Night Football against the Ravens. But the other 3 that I did win, I got the Giants right over the Patriots, the Rams right over the Cardinals, and the Eagles right over the Bills in overtime. So yeah, it is close. It's getting down to it. Logan just 1 game back of Jimmy. I am 2 games back of Jimmy, 1 back of Logan. So starting off the Cardinals at the Steelers. We are all on Pittsburgh this week. Their offense looked miles better than it had been. First 400-yard game in 2 minutes, too long. So yeah, I think we're all sticking with Pittsburgh. It's going to be a close game. I would look at Arizona +6. I think that's a solid option with how Kyler Murray is playing. And I don't know. I think maybe the Steelers defense will do well, but we'll see. So I kind of like Arizona +6, but Pittsburgh to win the game. Total's 41.5 here. I am leaning on the under. Chargers at the Patriots. LA getting 5.5 on the road. And yeah, I mean, the Patriots are so bad. The Chargers need every win they can get at this point. So they have to take this layup. They have to beat the team that they're supposed to beat, even on the road. So yes, please, Justin Herbert, play well, man. Austin Eckler, play well, man. 40.5 is the total here. I like the over. Or the under, actually. Under. Not confident Patriots will score. Are you kidding me? First lone wolf of the NFL slate this week. The point favorites at the Titans. I am lone wolfing the Tennessee Titans. Again, they are a completely different team at home than they are on the road. Close game last week, 7-point win over the Panthers. But I think Will Levis and the Titans will have a good game. Division rival coming in. I'm not confident in the Colts' ability to stop the run, so I think Derrick Henry could have a good day. And then the Tennessee defense might plague Gardner Minshew a lot of the day on this one as well. Total's 42.5. I like the under. Jimmy with the lone wolf here on Houston. This was a back and forth for me, but I went with the gut pick in the Broncos. Texans coming off a loss against Jacksonville. They're at home once again, 3-point favorites against Denver. But Denver is streaking. They've won 5 straight games. Russell Wilson playing well. So is the defense. I think they get some turnovers from CJ Stroud. And Denver goes into Houston and wins this one in a close one. 47.5 is the total for this one. I like the over. Lions, 4.5-point favorites in New Orleans. It's a tough game for the Saints to be in after the loss to Atlanta last week, losing first place in the NFC South. Need the Saints to rebound. Just don't think it'll be this week. I am going with the Lions, as are we all. Got to get back on track for Detroit if they want to continue to make a run at one of the top 2 playoff spots in the NFC. And continue to keep their lead on the Vikings and Packers in the NFC North. So the total is 46.5 in this game. I am leaning on the over. Actually, under. I think 26-15, sort of like the Saints. I think that was the Saints score last week. But Falcons at the Jets. Atlanta getting 2 points here on the road. I am lone wolfing the New York Jets, y'all. It wasn't great last week on Black Friday, but I think Atlanta is a team that the Jets can beat. They see Aaron Rodgers coming back. They see what could be for this season in a playoff berth with Aaron. And I think that will motivate them to win this game. Their defense is going to play well. They're going to get some turnovers from Desmond Ridder. And Tim Boyle does just enough. Run the dang ball, please. Hopefully they can, because Breece Hall has been screwing me the last month and a half. Total is 33.5. Good Lord. 33.5 is the total here. And I like the under. Why not? The Dolphins. Dolphins at the Commanders. We are all on Miami as we should be. I think Tua and that Dolphins offense is going to have a monstrous day against this Washington defense. Devon Achane should run wild as with Raheem Mostert. Hopefully, Achane is back 100% healthy this time and can get me some fantasy points. But yeah, I think Tua, Washington's not going to have an answer for Tyreek, I don't think. So yeah, give us the Dolphins. Total is 49.5. I'm leaning on the over. The 1-405 game this week. This one got moved into this slot. The Panthers at the Bucks, and Logan the Carolina Panthers to get their second win of the season. Yeah, I don't know, Logan. I mean, I've been picking against my Panthers for quite some time this year, and last week I picked them. They lost. I think the Titans were a team they could have won this game. I know it's with the new interim head coach and Chris Tabor, new offensive staff, but I just don't know. I don't think they're going to get it done in this game anyways, not against the Bucks in Tampa. That defense pretty solid still despite the 4-7 record. 5 points for Buccaneers. I think they win and cover. 36.5 is the total here, and I am leaning on the under. 49ers at the Eagles. God, I was so close. I thought that I was going to get a lone wolf on Philadelphia for 2 weeks straight in big games. Did not happen. Jimmy is lone wolfing the 49ers here. And I love it. I love that we are underdogs, 3-point underdogs in Philadelphia. Let's do it. Let's go. This is the one of 2 425 games. Why would you even watch the other one when this game is going to be on? Just saying. Total's 47.5. I like the under. I think this is going to be a different game than the Buffalo game. Defensive affair. Browns at the Rams. Logan. Rams. Jimmy and I, we are going with the former Super Bowl champion, Joe Flacco, to go into LA, beat the Rams, and get the Browns to 8-4. I'm okay with the Browns losing, helps the Steelers out. But this was my pick this week. I just think that Cleveland has the better defense, and they'll be able to stop Matthew Stafford and that Rams offense a couple times. Total is 40.5 here. Over. Sure. Sunday Night Football, the Chiefs at the Packers. Our guy Mark is going to be there for this one. 6-point favorites is Kansas City coming in. And I think they're going to win. Packers got an excellent win against Detroit on Thanksgiving. Have a lot of rest now for this game. I just do not think that they're going to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes, even though the Chiefs haven't been amazing this year. I think the KC defense also is going to play very well, harass Jordan Love a lot, kind of like the Lions did in that first game in Green Bay against the Packers. 42.5 here is the total, and I'm leaning on the over. 8:20 on NBC. And finally, the Monday Night Football, Bengals at the Jags. What could have been with this game had Burrow not gotten hurt? But yeah, we're all on the Jags. 8.5-point favorites at home. The Bengals, it's starting to turn for Jake Browning and Cincinnati into that lost season that they imagined when Joe Burrow went down. Jacksonville has its eyes set on the number 1 seed, which I believe with a win would get them there. over Baltimore. I'm not exactly sure on the standings right now, but with the Ravens having a bye, Jags looking to at least tie Baltimore at 9-3, top of the AFC. 38.5 is the total for this one. That's interesting. 38.5. I am leading on the under. 8:15 ABC and ESPN. Best bets of the week. 2-1 last week. Still not back to 500 yet, but we're getting closer. 16-20 overall on the season. Last week, I got the Steelers right, -1 at the Bengals, and the Broncos -1.5 against the Browns. Lost to the Vikings, -3 against the Bears. Jimmy, his Vikings did not do me any favors there. So this week, what I have is the Chargers -6 at the Patriots. I think that's going to be I think that's going to be a good spread there. Actually, it's 5.5 now, so I got to give myself the benefit of the doubt. 5.5. And obviously, like I said, the Patriots are trash. LA, please play up to your potential in this game for once in your life. The Lions, I like the Lions. It's actually -4 now at the Saints. I think that's a good get back win for Detroit in their pursuit of the playoffs. And then the Dolphins -9.5 at the Commanders. I just think the Dolphins are going to demolish Washington. I just don't think they have the defense. And the way that Miami's defense is playing, Jalen Ramsey is going to shut down Terry McLaurin, and the rest of the defense is going to play well, harass Sam Howell, hopefully, even without Jalen Phillips. Lock standings, we all won last week. So Jimmy and Logan leading me by 1, 7-5 apiece, 6-6 for me. Logan and Jimmy were together last week. They got the Chiefs right over the Raiders. And I got the Steelers right over the Bengals. So this week, Logan taking another big spread lock, -9.5 for the Dolphins against Washington. Again, I think he's going to win that one easily. I'm going with one of my best bets, the Chargers at the Patriots. I think even if they don't cover, they will win this game. It would be a shame if they don't win and cover together. Jimmy's going back on the Chiefs this week, having all of Wisconsin hate him and picking against the Packers. Chiefs 6-point favorites in Green Bay this weekend. Dog standings, yeah, it hasn't been great. 0-2 for everyone last week. Jimmy still leads Logan by 1, me by a lot. Jimmy now 14-10, Logan 13-11, and I am not even close. 8-14-2. It's been excellent picking dogs this year. So here we go. Going the Broncos is Logan +3 at the Texans. That I am on board with that, as Logan and I both picked Denver to beat Houston. Jimmy lone wolfing the Texans, so let's get one on him there. I am rolling with the Eagles. Eagles +3 against the 49ers at home. Look, they just keep winning, and let's hope that they can win this one or at least cover to get me a point. And then Jimmy +3.5 for the Browns at the Rams. That's a lot to ask for Joe Flacco to cover and win, Jimmy. So I don't know. I'm with you. You and I are on the Browns. Logan is on the Rams, so I hope that one wins as well. And my pick, Logan is with me on that one, as him and I are on Philadelphia. Jimmy is on the 49ers. And that is the show for today, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. We will be back next Friday talking Week 14 NFL action. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify, and X, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all back on Tuesday.